Welcome to the special edition of Out of the Blue. Comes Francis Sue. We've been invited live to the Sunday Camas service. And the title that we were having fun with was same thing.
Rightness. Oh no, wrongness is right. Because this is really exciting for me, because I feel like if we finally ready to really look at this this idea of wrongness, being wrong, and we were having a little discussion this morning, and what came out was nothing. The only thing that's wrong is wrongness. But then we came out, no, that even that is not wrong. So even wrongness is right. So there can't be anything that's wrong. So that comes this really radical topic called wrongness is right.
Because we were celebrating the idea that, we were talking in the room back there, and this friend of ours in Mexico wrote Francis Sue a letter and listed all of these things, and she was saying something like, of all the different people that could come, why would it be him? Because he's learning to practice getting into service, and we have other friends that are well practiced. And I said, something like, it sounds like there's something coming up for you. And Francis was just kind of sat there with it, and she's like, actually, no, I don't think so. I think that's what we're going to go into in the service, because there's no more individual mind that goes through anything.
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't see it that way. That assumption that has never been questioned is their individual mind, and the individual minds are going through healing at their own pace. And if this individual seems to go through something, that implies this individual mind needs healing, and this whatever that comes up implies a problem. And that's not really, I feel that's not really what I see. The only problem, if there is individual mind and individual thinking. And to say that assumption is we all have individual mind and going through healing on its own, then we go into whose mind is leading to healing what. That really needs to be looked at right now, And yesterday we were in some kind of similar discussion where the question was, it seems to have someone say something and the other person does not agree, and the question was, who is right? And I said, you're both right. How can we both be right when we seemingly completely opposite each other? I said, you're both right because you are playing your part perfectly. You're playing your part by saying what you're saying. They're playing their part by saying what they're saying. And that's why you're both right. And then whatever that's come up, it's not really pointed at individuals anymore. It's not saying, you have a charge. See that and let's go into it. What is going wrong with your mind? And that is not the direction that we are going forward from this point. Maybe it was what was serving in the past, but right now is, okay, let's just see the innocence behind everybody and every action, and see that the action and the words are said and the action are done out of this pure innocence. And yet, if there is any kind of emotion to be revealed, then that's perfect, because that's the whole point. Allow everything to come to that awareness, and the healing is done, because it just needs to be revealed to the light and vanish in the light, really. So if there's any kind of thing that's going on, we're not saying that just implies there is a problem. No, there's no problem. Everything is played out perfectly. And that's the only thing we can do, is to play our parts. And then going back to say, I should have done it differently. I should have said it differently. It's complete hypothetical. thinking, and it's complete.
It's even like farther away from the direction.
Right. And it's really just, we even talked about a few days ago about to say that, really assessing it is to say that something coming up right now I don't like. So I actually should have chosen differently, so that this whatever right now I don't want to be looking at or I don't want to face wouldn't come up right now. But instead of just really look at what's coming up and seeing there is a purpose for everything that is still hidden to come up to the surface and to be revealed to the light.
It's beautiful.
That's all there is. And it's just old retranslations, about someone's emotional state. I remember I had this real nervous before when I was doing public speaking. I remember if someone asked me to talk in public, I would be sometimes so nervous that I would find myself that I can't breathe, or I'm kind of out of breath. So, there was always this feeling of something was wrong with me because I was too nervous, like too shy or too nervous. But actually, it's this kind of strong feeling still comes now. It's very rare, but when it comes, I feel really happy because I feel there is a strong information, there is a strong message wants to come through. And sometimes it's so strong that this body couldn't cope it. But it was just a retranslation from I was wrong, there's some problem with me, to just seeing everything as they are over the years and stop judging and concluding anything, to really see, oh my God, I'm glad there's something so present that wants to come through right now. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's like applies to everything, how you look at a situation, a problem is just whether there is a problem or it's just innocence and
love coming through.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Because as it's like the self-concept is dissolving, there can be this fear, and it, like I've been hearing more and more, extend. It's not just speaking, but just being available. And that's really what the fear is like this strong message, who I am, that just wants to come through. And so I love this.
Yeah. And that's why, when all of this is revealed, eventually what we see is the real problem. If we hold individuality as underneath everything, individual minds, someone is further along and someone is behind, someone is not ready, and all of those eventually comes to the surface to be questioned, because that's really where the wrongness is felt, and I was even saying this to Christian this morning, even just searching, all this seeking and searching, if that is to be pursued, that is actually to confirm there's something wrong with me at the same time. It's a balance. There is something wrong and I need to find something. So there is a balance until suddenly you realize you don't need either of them. The seeking will stop. And at the same time, this intrinsic wrongness, but the wrongness comes from, we all know, it comes from much, much deeper. This separation, this original, that's where it really comes from and get projected onto the actions, or I guess it's probably magnified when we live with people closely and work with people together. Sometimes, oh, why did you do that? Why did you say that? Have you done this yet? What have you done the last 2 days? All of those, it can be such a subtle comment, and then just bring up this deep sense of wrongness. There's something wrong with me.
We had this celebratory evening the other night. We were watching this movie, Short Term 12, and everybody in the room afterwards, I was like, okay, Holy Spirit, how are you going to handle this one? Just 20 minutes of pretty much silence. A few people had some thoughts, but in the end, I don't know how it came about, but the real realization was we're done with using movies to find out what is wrong with me. If I could say that. Or like, really it's to flesh up emotions and see where you've got charges. But even to watch movies in that way, it was almost like we let it go, and there was a celebration of, no, not to pick apart anything in the world and use it to find out what the individual needs healing for.
Mm-hmm.
And just go with, again, a stepping back and letting all things be exactly as they are. And then, of course, the next morning, we, after celebrating that idea, and even Laverne was like, but we just got our movie team together. What are we doing, The next morning, we watched Heaven is for Real.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us just had such a beautiful experience with that. And it did seem to be like a letting up of a deep emotion, almost like the purest thing about it was we wanted to rush in and hug each other, but we had to face like the abandonment or fear of rejection for that. But there was just such love. I think we all just wanted to go boom and have this puppy pile like a giant magnet. And when we did, that's when all the softness, and again, there was no problem. It was just a call for love. But we had to let go of the idea that movies were finding an individual problem anymore.
Mm.
It's pretty cool. And our talks are just becoming, I've just been saying this week, so fun because we just sit down and be and let whatever arises, but there's nothing with that. It's just so much laughter and fun in the love. And if something comes up, like in that movie, what's that movie with the blanket?
I
heard Huckabees. It arises and then falls away, and then arises, but there's nothing apart from anything else. Christian, did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I was just going, please don't call. It was great because the script is written. I knew you were going to call. The script is written. Oh, please don't.
Come on up.
You want to see? It could just be up and then whatever you feel. It could be up and then down, but. Where you want to sit there?
Right here.
Do you have any thoughts about this topic, or any experience, or?
Well, I guess I can tell what I went through last night because it was exactly this thing. So I was thinking yesterday that maybe it would be nice to go to the river, but I wasn't real sure. And then I mentioned it to Salita, and it kind of exploded. But I still wasn't too sure. And I went and took a walk. And during the walk, I thought, well, I don't think I'm going to go. And when I came back to tell Salita, there was this sense of wrongness just kind of popped up. Because it was my idea, I should be the one who should be going. But there was a sense also of I would be going out of a feeling of responsibility. Mm-hmm. Like I'm responsible. So it seems like this sense of wrongness has just been so kind of explosive over the last 2 or 3 weeks since I've been here. And when it came up, when I told Salita, and it was almost like, once again, wrong. And now I have a reason why I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm not going. Mm-hmm. But I knew it couldn't be true, even though there was a feeling the feeling of wrongness, not doing it good enough. That's been the thing for me, not good enough. So I grabbed some food and I went and sat outside, and I just started meditating, just looking at the idea. No, it's like Byron Katie says, if it's everything that we see is, if I'm sitting there eating, it's because this is what did she say?
Has to happen that way.
It has to happen this way. How do I know it? Because I'm sitting here eating. I decided not to go. It has to happen that way. How do I know? Because that was the decision that appeared to be made. And when I came to that realization, here comes Helena walking through the door, just reflecting my innocence back to me. Everybody had left, and Helena comes walking through the door. And we watched a movie, and in the middle of that, I got, all of a sudden, this sense of wrongness came back in at a very, very deep level, but it wasn't attached to anything. And just like you said when we were in the room, it's like, it's okay to allow, to feel that. In fact, it's critical that we feel it, but there isn't an I. It's just this emotion that's coming through. It's an emotion that's coming through. There's not an I that did anything in form, but that's where the ego wants to go.
Yeah.
To go out and prove that there was a decision made somewhere in form that determines rightness or wrongness.
Right.
And that can't be true. That just can't be true. And that's what I love about that saying for Byron Katie. It's like, how do I know this is supposed to be happening? Because it's happening. And there's just such an innocence in that. And then to have, Helena come through and reflect that innocence back.
The orchestration.
The orchestration, exactly. As soon as I heard, hey, it's like, okay, here's my innocence walking through. I can't make a wrong decision. There's not an individual I actually making this decision. It's just like we're all inside of this flow.
Yeah, I really like what you're saying. Like the ego wants to find a reason on the timeline and inform to justify really this sense of separation or this sense of wrongness or this sense of lack.
Yes.
And as long as you fixed onto it, as long as you allow your mind to go there, to start to analyze, what I did wrong and how could I have avoided that, or start to make an argument in your mind back and forth about how you could justify it. Anyhow, as long as we allow the mind to go there, that's locked in. That become an unquestioned conclusion, and that start to become solid foundation for this guilt. You just sort of build up a foundation for that. But really, this guilt or this wrongness, if it comes from separation, it's not really true. If you don't have any, you don't collect support to justify or have your mind constantly go there, it just vanish.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah. And those also allow that, sometimes if I do feel the wrongness, I do feel the guilt, but out of this trying to deny it because I don't like to feel it, and then I say, why do you say this to me? Why do you point your finger at me? You shouldn't have said that. It's like it's not even about other people anymore. You give yourself permission to do whatever, and you give everybody else to say and do whatever, and whatever comes up is a gift. Whatever comes up needs to come up. Whatever comes up needs to come up. Being a wrongness or whatever, just allow it to just come up. And sometimes I will say to myself, oh God, I'm afraid to face this, so that I can let other person go. I don't have to say that, why does he say that to me? He could have said something different. I would just say, I must be very afraid to face this, whatever that's coming up, so that my attention is completely with this right now. And when it's complete with this, it just doesn't last at all.
Yeah, I talked to my uncle this morning, and he had an experience yesterday with one of his friends. He had actually been talking to his wife on the telephone, hung up, and a call came back immediately, so he assumed it was his wife. So he picked up and just kind of jokingly said, "What now?" And it happened to be a friend of his who has a little bit of an upset with him. And so he kind of exploded, thinking he knew it was him based upon caller ID, and said, "I'm never going to talk to you again," and then hung up. And my uncle said, "I haven't been hung up on since I was, 15 or whatever. I was an adult." And immediately he wanted to call him back and try to fix something, inform. And of course the sense of guilt set in. I've done something wrong. But he felt just to kind of pull back and not call him immediately. And then it came in, okay, I want to talk to Christian before I do anything. And it was a full 24 hours later that this happened. It was just like, when he got done, it's absolutely beautiful that you didn't try to go out and fix anything in form, that you can allow him to have whatever reaction he needs to have. If we go out and try to make it okay, we're actually trying to fix it in a place that it absolutely cannot be fixed. It's looking in the exact wrong and in the exact wrong place. And I just thought it was beautiful, really, to just not go right after it, but to step back and just allow whatever was going to happen to happen.
Yeah.
And really, how do I know it was supposed to happen? Because it happened. We just talked about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why, like you're saying, living in community is so beautiful, because like there's times to go up to the monastery per se and meditate and have ascended experiences and work on your projects, and then coming back here, it's almost like you can face some of those deeper things, because sometimes there's a structure that's in play, and if there's anything with structure, it flushes it up, or the people, or the high, like Cody was saying, he just really loves coming back to Camas because it's such a high function, and that too can just flush it up. So it's just really allowing the Spirit to orchestrate the healing for what serves the mind. Not making any conclusions about anything, that a place is better or this one's better. Just totally giving over control to, Christ's control for the healing.
Yeah. And there's like such a power and strength in allowing, like what I have been witness, I guess, when I was taking an observer role and I watch when seemingly one person or some people are voicing whatever, are giving themselves permission to voice, and it could sound very personal to the other person. And when I see the other person is not defending at all, not even in the mind, and this permission is so powerful, I actually perceive in that silence there is a huge healing that's happening right there. But for both, for the person who is not defending, he does not feel attacked, and he just give the full permission, and also for those people who are voicing whatever they feel. Maybe there's some kind of charge, but it's really just the message behind, and they have to say it, and maybe come out in a very personal way. But when they did, and there was a permission given, it's almost like there's no landing place when there is no defense, and somehow it's just come up and evaporate, and there is nothing that get affected. I just feel like it's really powerful in that space. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
script is written, so let's see who's...
I hear David came back and he was sharing, like, there was a question when he was doing a gathering in Mexico, and someone was asking, is that okay to put makeup on? I'm on this spiritual journey, or is that still okay to wear earrings, for example? You know, those kind of, or is that okay to pay attention to my diet, to lose weight, to be pretty? But underneath that is like asking for permission, or like, I don't want to do it wrong, basically. Tell me what is right, how to do it right. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to, be on the wrong direction. It's all about this wrongness in the end, and so that you're asking for permission from someone you trust, but yet at the same time, this wrongness has never really been, questioned. That
surfaced, yeah.
Yeah, it's like still about behaviors. The behavior can be right or wrong. If I tell me what behaviors are right and what behaviors are wrong. And there is no behavior that is right or wrong. And I remember there's another spiritual teacher, I can't remember his name. He was saying that after his realization or whatever, the difference that, as he described it, was before he would go through all kinds of spiritual healing and training. Like, for example, this what do you call this really hot thing?
Bikram yoga?
No. Like some shamanic, sweat lodge. He would go through the sweat lodge and push himself to to the point of he was almost passed out, to get some kind of spiritual experience. And after all that, he said the only difference is he would go to a sweat lodge, and when it reached the point that he feel uncomfortable, he would walk out. That's the only difference. Like, there is no sense of wrongness that I need something to fix me. Tell me.
I love this topic.
It's just like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with it? I'm just having so much confidence.
There's no better topic. Like, this is the end of the ego. This was our day yesterday, even just when we let all that up. Even Val was just expressing the lunchroom. I don't even know, just like a sense of wrongness coming up and letting that move through. Everyone could feel it. Everyone just gives full permission. Like 20 minutes, we all just sat there. Total silence as the emotion moved through. I love it.
It's really important to allow it, even if it has to come with certain words or comments that, seems personal, whatever. We don't care. Just allow it to come out,
That's why I was sitting in that chair there after the movie, and I had so much emotion. I didn't know what it was, and at one point I was like, I can't hold back. And I just like, help, can somebody hold me? And it was just like the whole audience, I don't know who, my eyes were closed. Everybody just like ran up and grabbed a different part of me, and it was just permission to feel safe and face whatever that was, and it's like abandonment or the other side love just wanting to like force itself through. And it's just so beautiful. But there was so much resistance to just saying those words like help, and then Christiane had the same kind of a feelings, and she did it, and it was like a hive went that way, and then Val. It just shows it's not personal, but the mind is just going through this deep cleansing. Yeah, I'm so glad, I went for it. It's just like, thank you, God. And just so funny because the night before we were like, well, there's no more movies that really touch us anymore. Next morning, boom.
It does seem that David has addressed this, because I keep hearing him say, you can't mess it up. And to me, that's exactly what you guys are saying. He also talked, I can't remember what or where it was, but he talked about his fearing consequences. And not that there aren't consequences in this illusion, but it's the fear of that was the concern. And then the guilt over those consequences, I think, it is the underlying problem. It's like has been said about why does something happen? Because it's supposed to, because it is happening. And when I just accept and allow that allowance thing, absolute miracles happen of those emotions just coming up and flowing through. Can't mess it up. So he has addressed that.
Yeah.
Beautifully, simply. You can't mess it up. Yeah. And of course my ego goes, but there are consequences. And it's like, well, yeah, there are, but those consequences are exactly where they're supposed to be too. And where I go is, if I took a gun and shot and killed you, I would face the consequences. But why would I take a gun and shoot? The ego does some weird things. It's like, and I remember Katie coming out before her seminars that she used to put on here in Salt Lake, and she would say, family, who would you be without your story? Who would you be without your, the concepts? And it took me the longest time to see what she was trying to say, that without all of these fears of consequence, fears of this, that, the other, we would be love. It would be love. It wouldn't be chaos and mayhem. It wouldn't be killing each other, and it would be love. Simple as that. And that is my experience when I let go of the fears of the consequences, it's just love.
Yeah.
I can't mess it up.
Yeah, when you let go of the fear of consequences, there are no consequences.
Yeah.
Yes, simple.
Yeah. It's all hypothetical. The ego just want to involve hypothetical thinking.
Yeah.
And
If I took a gun.
Yeah, if that's like, it's not happening. So it's hypothetical. And if you just really see how many thoughts are hypothetical thoughts all throughout the day, and you can just put them in one category, hypothetical, and not giving them a lot of attention, and just see what is left, really.
It's all hypothetical thinking.
Yeah.
Because the ego's hypothetical.
Yes.
It too isn't a reality.
It needs hypothetical thinking to sustain itself. Past and future are all hypotheticals. Yeah.
That's cool. Like in the end, the ego is the hypothetical. Like, where is the ego? Nowhere. Some other great things he says. But
Yeah.
that's why, like Ramana, he's like, look for it. Who is the I? When you look, you don't find it. And that's the freedom. It's like when you face us directly, there's nothing to see. Same lesson. David's in there. You can hear him in the back, like giving this Buddha at the gas pump interview on a non-dual TV show, and we're in here doing it with course terminology or whatever. It's all the same. This is why our path is so profound, because like the extension or the guidance or whatever, it's an immediate replacement for the ego's hypotheticals. It's like, this is now, this is what's present, stay with it. Eventually it just becomes a state of mind, but it is a fast track. That's why in this community so much can come up so quickly. And we have the substitute, the being done through in such a radical way, because so much comes up so quickly. Yeah. So the movies will continue.
Do you have a song we can play?
I was thinking. I don't have anything to play it on either. So.
You don't have your music?
No, I don't.
Is there a song?
How could anyone ever tell you?
I can look it up.
Who sings that one? How could anyone ever tell you? Karen Drucker. Or Eric, do you have a song for us?
Probably a little later when David is done.
Oh, right.
That's right, I'm a little loud.
Yeah. Save you for the
Tone it
last.
down.
Is it Karen Drucker or is it?
Yeah.
I think this thing is
Beautiful. How could anyone ever tell you you were less than home? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. You were less than whole. How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And I can hear him saying, okay, thank you, very good. You could
Behind the
probably-
curtain.
What's that?
It's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
You got a curtain behind you.
Right.
There was a quote that Jutta pulled out the other day, and it's just like the song that you sang, and it says, "All your past, except its beauty, is gone, and nothing is left but a blessing."
Mm.
Just like that song.
Eric?
Yeah, you want to sing us a song?
Sure.
His closing song as he heads up to the monastery.
Yeah, this is that song I wrote called "It's Only Me," and I always felt like this was just a song that would be deeply symbolic for me of remembering that any seeming wrongness or problem isn't out there, and it's not even really with the me that is the personal me, but it's just a perceptual, it's like the me that is dreaming all this. And so this song is kind of like a, for me when I sing it, I think of like pulling way, way back off the screen and accepting that I'm the dreamer, and then just going beyond that even and seeing that the innocence that I see in everyone is the same innocence in myself, and that's all there is to do ever. It's just to see right into that innocence. me. Now I'm free. And anytime I believe that somebody else is the cause of my grief, I need to stop and see I am deceived. 'Cause it's only me. I am the dreamer of this dream. I've just got to learn to see it's only me. And when I'm afraid, thoughts that I have made. There's no one outside to blame. It's only me. And I am free. Everything that I perceive are the projections of my false memory. There's no need to ever take any of it seriously. 'Cause all that's ever seemed to be of time was just a foolish fictional storyline. But I'm learning that it never really happened, except in my mind. And it's only me. I am the dreamer of this dream.
Did you find another song a little more on topic? Perfect. They're getting probably lunch ready, but Sarah or Cody, did you guys have anything you wanted to share?
Can you shut the door, Chris?
It's shut.
I don't think I have anything right now.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, Erik. I just feel that reminded me of when I was in Australia doing a silent retreat, and I had different people, different participants in the retreat, and seemingly they believe they have some problem to heal or physical symptom to heal, and what I really was seeing was they all somehow get this really, really bright light to shine, and I don't know where there seems to be not full permission to allow that. So we had with one particular friend, he is a musician and he has a lot of physical illness, but we had a few concerts just having him doing a full concert in the evening, and it was just unbelievable, like God was just pouring through him. And he disappeared completely. His personality, his problems, his littleness, and everything just disappeared. And in his light, like just so bright. And I was seeing that with him and with different ones in different ways that they're shining their light. And when you were just performing, it just reminded me of that experience of everybody has such a bright light to shine. And just to allow that to come through, sometimes it feels like a pretty obvious form. For example, someone can speak, someone can play music, and someone doesn't really know what specific thing they have, but just I see that in all kinds of forms, actually. And it's just amazing to watch the individual forget about themselves, and in that, all the problems and physical symptoms and all things disappear in that, and they just become just completely merged with the oneness. It's just really beautiful. So thank you for that experience for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I do want to say something about that. It's been so healing for me to be here. I'm leaving tomorrow to go up to Angel's Landing, and I think I'll be more focused on helping with preparations for the Strawberry Festival. But just this time here, these past few months, I feel like it's been really profound, because I just over and over and over again had this experience of being asked to do different things, and in the Course he says the ego always speaks first. It always speaks loudest and always speaks first. So the initial response that I can feel is always like a no. Like, I don't want to do that. And I can see how the mind wants to attach to that, like conclude that must be, what my true response is, because it feels so real. And then the mind will start, it'll grab onto that, and then immediately it has to justify it. I know because blah, 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 blah. And, you know, I just had so many opportunities to just watch the no, and then just go, okay, I'm open. And then just observe how it can happen through me, whatever the request was, without effort, without pain, without difficulty. And it's almost like that's the only lesson in a way. I feel like that's the ultimate lesson is just like the Spirit is asking us to be a miracle worker for Him, so to speak, on this level. As long as we believe we're bodies, the Spirit's saying, can you do this now? Can you do this now? Now I want you to do this, now I want you to do this. And the ego's always going to say, nope, nope, nope. And we just have to keep being open. And because it always seems like it's outside of our comfort zone. Like I've had so many experiences where it felt like, I can't do all that. I can't do everything. I have too much on my plate. No, I can't do that, you know? And I think when it reaches like a point where it is too much, you know, the Spirit is very gentle as well. Like, okay, well, just focus on what you got then, and you know, I'll get to that one later. You know, but I've just seen how actually, you know, I don't have to, like, I can handle way more than I thought I could. But it's not the self. When I put it in the future, that's always the problem. Like someone wants me to do this thing, so I imagine myself trying to do it in the future, and it seems like it's impossible. Like no, I can't do that. I can't see myself doing that. You know, and yet that's why it's called the Course in Miracles. Like it would be a miracle for me to be able to do that. And actually, it's true. It's always going to be a miracle. I thought a lot about like Helen Schuckman when she was describing the Course. Like I'd probably seen, like if Jesus had just come to her and said, "Hey, Helen, I want you to write a book that's going to be the ultimate book on truth. It's going to teach everyone how to be miracle workers. I want you to do that." You know, like if Jesus came to any of us and said, "That's what you're going to do," we'd be like, "What? No, I have no idea what you're talking about." But He can do it through us, and we're all doing exactly the same thing in content that Helen Schuckman was doing. We're being whether it's, "Hey, Eric, could you clean that bathroom?" That's the same thing. It's Jesus saying, "Helen, can you scribe the Course?" And we're saying, "Okay, I'm open," and you know, and then just watching how it gets done through us. So it's been a lot of lessons that have all been that one lesson here, and I'm just really grateful, especially to Yuta and Salita for, you know, I feel like you've been the symbols of Jesus coming through and pushing me against my resistances, and I feel like I've had a lot of healings in this context, so just really grateful to you both. And I feel like it just continues, like it's not like it's over at all. You know, I don't feel like I'm really, like anything's really changing, actually.
Now you're going to Nikita.
Right. Jesus will be speaking through different bodies now.
That's beautiful. I think Helen and you probably, she viewed describing the book as the same as you did with the bathroom, like,
Yeah.
why me? Or, you know, it's just the lack of unworthiness, really. It's not inability. It's just unworthiness to hear that and recognize it as your own voice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always, it seems to be the release is when you can see that it's not anyone else, it's you asking you to do it. And it's for that, you know, resolving and letting go of any ideas about what it means to clean a bathroom. Any thoughts of resistance about it, or any future thoughts, like all that has to go. It has to, the mind has to be emptied completely. So my mind definitely feels emptier now than it did.
You were highly used.
Yeah.
was even saying this to Jason this morning, like, we use the prompts like clean the bathroom, play the song, do the service, because the ultimate prompt is that we're actually back with our Father. That's the prompt that we're trying to remember, is that we are one with God. That's the prompt, right? And so we're just using all these little ones to help us to remember that big one that we can't actually accept for ourselves. So listen, remember.
That's beautiful, because then the resistance, we don't know where the inspiration comes from, but we don't really know where the resistance coming from either. It's not really your resistance. And if we identify with the resistance, like you said, it feels like my true response or my true feeling is always a no. Then you identify with the resistance, and you forget what it's really about. Just there is a resistance, and even just to notice, but that's not really what I'm identifying with. And as you said, you just then going back to that's the resistance, is to go all the way back to remember the original prompt. So it seems to be along the way there keeps to be this don't go, don't do that. Yeah.
You're never afraid of the means, though. You're actually afraid of the end.
Yeah.
You're afraid of the prompt. You're never irritated or resistant to the means, even. You're just somewhere you know where it's heading.
Yeah, it's like it's only the ego resistant to the Holy Spirit. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Which
That's
it always
what I've
will
heard
be.
David say. You're afraid of this little prompt because you're afraid of where it's leading.
Yeah. Okay.